All right.
Right
Hand
here
me my
we're
phone.
cool.
Hello, everybody. My name is Will Johnson. I want to thank you for watching. We are Unite America First. And tonight we have some special guests with us. Um, we're talking about the SB54 referendum. And first of all, we're going to start off with Ben. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there. So, Ben, starting with you, please.
Thanks for having us on, Will. I'm Ben Berquam, Frontline Radio, and the spokesman for the SB54 referendum.
Okay, Marco.
Yeah, my name is Marco. I'm a grateful citizen of the United States of America, and I'm the proponent of SB54 referendum.
Okay, now Don.
Yeah, my name is Don Rosenberg. My son was killed almost 7 years ago by an illegal alien, and I've been working to get illegal aliens out of the United States ever since.
Okay, and Sabina.
Hi, I'm Sabina Durden, otherwise known as Dom's mom. My only child, my son Dominic, was killed on 7/12/12 in California by an illegal alien with a long criminal record, and I have been fighting since then to get any illegal out of America because I'm a legal immigrant and I'm expecting the same from everybody else. So thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks for everybody for coming. So, this movement, this what you guys are doing is very important. And you know what, I'm thankful, and I thank you for reaching out to me to try to help get this message across. Because everybody in the state of California needs to wake up and realize what exactly is happening here. This movement is very important. So, can you, I guess, how do you want to do this? Ben, do you want to talk about how you got it started?
She may have to hold this in a bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I was brought onto this. We started this. So SB54 referendum, and just as a little bit of background for folks, with the referendum, it's a little different than initiative. We only have 90 days from the time that Governor Brown signed the bill into law to repeal it. And what we want to do is repeal it before it takes effect on January 1st, 2018. And so we chose the referendum route. That means from October 5th, we have 90 days. We filed it on October 17th, and then we received the title and summary last Friday, the 27th, from the Attorney General's office. So basically, though, from this point forward, we have 62 days to get the referendum from to raise Attorney enough General's money. Office. So basically, though, from this point forward, enough signatures. Again, we need 365,000 plus signatures. In reality, we need closer to 500,000 signatures in just under 60 days. So we have a very short, tight window and a very steep mountain to climb. But really, the key to me are the stories. And so Don and Sabina and the countless other families that have lost loved ones, that to me is the key. It's connecting that with the people, guys. This is a seditious, lawless bill. This law, the sanctuary state law, just so everybody knows where we're at as a little background here, I am on the pier. I'm feet away from where Kate Steinle was killed. I'm standing actually at the same point where Kate Steinle was murdered by a criminal illegal alien. That trial is actually going on today. It's ongoing right now. And I'm standing in the place where she was killed, a innocent American citizen killed by a criminal illegal alien. And now the city of San Francisco, under their sanctuary city policies, protects that criminal illegal alien. What I want to know is where's the justice for Kate and where's the justice for Don? And I'm going to let Don Rosenberg and Sabina, they can tell their story way better than I could ever tell it. But for me, when I got asked to do this, it was an honor. The whole premise of tonight and what we're asking folks to do, and thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for being here with us. We need funding. This is our real kickoff. Now that we've got this underway, we've got the title and summary approved. In order to get this thing done, in order to get the 500,000 signatures that we're going to need to get, we need funding. We'll need a minimum of about $500,000. And so what we're asking, and we'll talk more about it later, but we need folks to go to SB54referendum.com, whether you're in California or you're somewhere else in the country. We've got to stop this lawlessness. We have to stop. And if you think that you're somewhere else in this country and it's not going to affect you, you're wrong. If it's allowed to stay here in California, it's gonna spread just like cancer, just like the sanctuary city policies have spread. It's time for every American to stand up and support the rule of law. We're asking you to join us, whether that's $5 or $500. We need everybody's support on this. And so tonight is that kickoff. It's that webathon to get that going, to get folks involved. And we're going to be tracking that over the night. So again, go to SB54referendum.com, whatever you can give there. So our proponent, Will or Marco, I don't know if you want to go to Marco, Will, or if we want to just go to Don's story. But I'm a guy who got asked to be a spokesman on this. I'm honored to be that spokesman. But to me, it's really, Marco's story of coming to America, doing it legally, and Don and Sabina's story are the true, those are the things that need to be highlighted.
Right.
That really, I believe, will mobilize people across the country to stand up for this nation and for this rule of law.
Awesome. So let's go to Marco, and then after Marco, we'll go to Don and Sabrina so they can tell their story.
Hi, Will. I am sitting actually where the criminal for Kate Steinle was sitting the day that he killed Kate Steinle. And there's a saying in Spanish that says, "Pagarán justos por pecadores," which means that the just will pay for the sinners. And what we have here is we have the Kevin De Leon, Jerry Brown, pretending that they're helping a group of people, but they're really not. They're just this law undermines the will of the citizens of California, and it really puts us in a position where can you guys? Well, now we have a sanctuary state, but can you guys imagine a sanctuary nation? Because Illinois is already working on a version of sanctuary state, a sanctuary nation that would protect people that are not from this nation against people that are from this nation. It sounds crazy, but it also sounds crazy that a guy can go in the bathroom where my daughter goes to pee. So there is really no stopping to these politicians that are doing the laws that are affecting the citizens of the United States, in this case, California. And having done, is it Sabina?
Yes, it is.
I remember Sabina from the RNC. I don't know what I would do. My brother was shot by a drive-by. Thank you guys for standing up and for sharing your story, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to identify and that are going to help in this movement to repeal this sanctuary state law.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So since you went ahead and brought up Sabrina's name, we're going to go to Sabina, and then we'll go to you, Don. Okay, Don?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't into politics. I was just a mom to my only child, to Dominic, who was 30 years old. He's right there behind me. Love of my life. My best friend for 30 years. And my world was okay. I knew about illegal aliens, and I knew about the guys at Home Depot, and you see them and you think, no, I'm not going to hire them. And then you go on about your business. You don't realize the impact illegal immigration has, not just death, but identity theft, crowded schoolrooms, monies that should go to our American citizens, veterans, homeless people. It all goes to illegals. They have more rights. But July 11th, 2012, my world was still all right. And I was living in Moreno Valley, California, next to Riverside. And my son dropped my fiance, Anthony, and I off at the Ontario airport to go to Atlanta for a family reunion. I kissed him goodbye, hugged him, and told him, see you in a week. And I didn't realize that was the last time I would ever lay my arms around my son, feel him, and kiss him. Because at 5:45 in the morning, as Dominic was riding on his motorcycle 3 miles from home, going to work as a sheriff's dispatcher for the Riverside Sheriff's Department, a illegal alien with 2 felonies, armed robbery, grand theft, which he received very little for, hardly spent any time, 1 deportation, 2 DUIs. While he was caught on a DUI, he received probation, got probation the next time. He drove towards my son in an old, unregistered, unlicensed, and uninsured truck, turned in front of him, and hit him so hard that it threw him into a wall on the sidewalk where he died instantly. The killer of my son was going to run away, but there were 2 Marines that were riding behind Dominic, and they stopped. One of them stayed with Dominic, and the other guy stopped the killer from leaving. Well, a little while later, he received a misdemeanor without gross negligence.
Sabina,
The DA
Sabina, let me
Yeah.
step in real quick. 1 second.
Sure.
Say Marco and Ben. Marco and Ben. While you're not talking, can you
Yes.
hit the mute button on your mobile device? Just
Yes.
while you're not talking. Then when you get ready to talk, then unmute it for us, please. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. So the killer was sitting there bored to death while my son's body was covered with a flag, because the first responders that showed up were Dominic's friends. Dominic worked with the fire department, the police department, and each one of them showed up and couldn't deal with it, so they had to get highway patrol to take over the case. The DA lied to me, told me, oh, don't worry, we got you. We're going to get justice for Dominic. Let's not go to trial. And so we ended up in a traffic court with a judge that was biased and gave the killer a deal. And the killer received a misdemeanor without gross negligence, 9 months, 5-year probation, because clearly probation worked with this guy previous. He didn't care. He didn't care about our laws. And the killer of my only child, the illegal felony, criminal, illegal killer of my child, received 35 days. He spent 35 days in jail. And if Dominic wasn't so well known, and by then I started to wake up from the shock and everything, and I started realizing something wasn't right. They decided to take the killer to Adelanto, to the immigration hold center, where he spent 1.5 years and then was deported, because we went there almost every month, every week, sitting there, letting them know that we weren't going to go away. And while my story was told on TV, on the evening news, just a little snippet about this young man being killed by a drunk driver, they didn't even mention illegal. Don Rosenberg saw it. And he knew who the killer was. He read between the lines, and he contacted me through the TV station. And we have been friends in pain since then and been fighting this. And I just want to tell people out there, because you mentioned donations for this cause. This is my son. All I have left is in this urn, his ashes. So if you think donating $10, $15, $50 is a lot, this is a lot more. This costs a lot more to bury your only child. So before I forget it, please donate. Make sure the next generation, your kids, your grandkids, won't end up like ours. Make sure you fight this, because if this goes through, it won't stay in California. I had to move. I no longer live in California because I can't deal with it anymore. The pain was too much. I was getting physically sick.
Wow.
And thank you guys for doing this, because people don't realize it could be them telling our stories any given moment.
I can't even imagine what you're going through, being a mother, losing your child, and even Don, just a father or a mother, losing your child, and your child goes before you. That is just so heart-wrenching. I mean, I'm so sorry for your loss, and
you can't describe this kind of pain.
You can't. I know. I can't even imagine the pain. And you know what? It's pain that doesn't go away.
No.
Because every single day you probably miss your child. I can only imagine. And see, for me, it angers me because we have these politicians that are here in the state of California that's allowing this to continue. and allowing it to go on. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing to protect the American people. And it's very
Exactly.
frustrating.
Their families are safe. They are protected. They live in
Exactly.
gated communities. They might have armed guards with them. Who knows? But
Exactly.
they are not dealing with everyday issues like we do. And they need to step up for their American constituents, for their American co-workers and neighbors.
Wow.
You
Yes,
have
you're
to
absolutely
take
right.
America first.
You're absolutely right. You know, I really want to thank you for coming on with us. And please stay with us the entire time. So let's go to Don, so Don can tell his story, because Don has a really touching story as well.
Yeah, hi, Will. Thank you for having me on. And Sabina, and like Sabina said, we've been friends, I don't know how long. It seems like almost forever, but
5 years, yeah.
And unfortunately for both of us, so many of our new friends have suffered the same, the same tragedy that we have. And that's how we've, gotten together. And I'll talk about that in a second. But in 15 days, it'll be the 7th anniversary of my son's death. Fairly close to where Will and Marco are right now. He was in law school in San Francisco. He was coming home one night at 5:30 on his motorcycle, going pretty slowly, rush hour traffic. And a guy, Roberto Gallo, who was in the country illegally from Honduras. He had stopped at a street corner, and then at the last second, he tried to make a quick turn to get through the intersection, collided with my son. Had he stopped, I probably wouldn't be on here today, because although my son flew over the front of his car, they were going very slowly, and he probably would have walked away with some minor cuts and bruises. But Gallo, instead of stopping, accelerated, drove over my son's body. His helmet came off and wedged under one of the tires of Gallo's car. He backed up, drove over him a second time, and then trying to flee down the street, went forward a third time. By that time, a guy had gotten out of his car and stood in front of Gallo's car, and he stopped, and his rear tire was on Drew's abdomen, and 5 guys had to lift the car off of him. At the time, we were told that he was in the country legally, which was not true, but it became very evident right from the beginning, right from the preliminary hearing, that the district attorney's office had no interest whatsoever in bringing this guy to justice. And only because of the fight that my wife and I did, stopped him from just pleading it out. When it's all said and done, I'm not sure that really meant a lot, because he was convicted. Well, he was originally charged with vehicular homicide hit and run, which is a felony. At the preliminary hearing, the judge reduced the charge to vehicular manslaughter, which is a misdemeanor. And his rationale was that the judge, had been in an accident one time, and he assumed that the guy panicked and he wasn't trying to flee, even though every eyewitness said that he was trying to flee. But from that point on, the district attorney's office was, I don't want to say they were screwing it up, because I really believe they were doing it on purpose. At one time, when they screwed something up or did it on purpose, and my wife and I really got angry, we were told by one of the DAs to get over it.
Are you serious?
Absolutely serious.
That is, wow. I mean, you lost your child and they're telling you to get over it?
Get over it, yeah.
Oh my God.
And what they had messed up was the ADA on the case in front of the judge didn't know the facts of the case. She had it all wrong, and they were trying to combine 2 cases. I don't want to get into all the details, it's whatever, but they were trying to combine 2 cases. She didn't know the facts, and the judge said, I don't know what you're talking about, and refused to join the cases. What it would have done is made it that the woman who gave this guy his car back would have been held to a higher crime as well, because now the car ended up causing a death. Instead, she was just held to the crime of giving a car to an unlicensed driver. And things, from there just kept getting crazier and crazier. It took us a long time to get them to appeal the decision of the preliminary hearing judge, and they filed the appeal in the wrong court. That I know they did on purpose. There's no way, and every district attorney that I've talked to for years and told them the story has said to me, there's no way that could happen if they didn't want to do it. So we lost our appeal rights on the case. It did, the only good thing that ended up happening, the ADA that was on the case was pregnant, and she went out on pregnancy leave with 4 weeks before the trial. And we did get actually a great attorney at the district attorney's office, probably the only one. And he managed to get a conviction. And the guy was sentenced to 6 months in jail. He was let out in 43 days by a sheriff named Ross Macarimi. And if anybody recognizes that name, he's the same sheriff that let Kate Steinle's killer out.
Wow.
So he's more concerned with illegal aliens than he is with American citizens. After he was let out, I tried to get him the USCIS, which would have put the order into ICE to detain him and work on his deportation, refused. I was told by them, he's only committed one crime of moral turpitude. We're not going to deport him. I will say I spent, with a lot of people's help, about 8 months and finally got him deported. The thing that's, you hear Sabina's story, you hear my story. And I remember when I was going through this, I was thinking, this is incredible. This can't be happening. And what I learned is our stories are not the exception. They're the rule. The legal system in almost every state, even conservative states, for whatever reason, has completely forgotten about American citizens and tries to protect these people. And now, of course, you've got California, wants to protect and we're not even talking now about people that are here illegally. They want to protect people that are here illegally and then have been arrested or convicted of other crimes, and they want to protect them.
That's just, wow, that's crazy.
So I appreciate, what Ben and Marco were doing, and that's why I joined them as soon as I, found out about it. And again, I'll echo what Sabina said. We need your contributions, whatever they are, but we need them. We're going to have a big fight here, even once we get the ballot, or once we get the referendum. We're going to be called racist and bigots, and we're going to be charged with trying to tear families apart. They'll never use the word sanctuary. They'll probably, they're just going to try to make it look like we're horrible people. But the irony is, if you're here illegally and you're not committing other crimes, you're more likely to be the victim of these people than we are.
Yeah.
So we're not just trying to protect American citizens. We're trying to protect everybody but the criminals.
Yeah, it's crazy. So let's go back to Marco.
Well, my grandmother in Mexico will join this fight. The typical, and let's talk about Hispanics. Not every illegal is Hispanic, but it so happens that I am, so I get to speak about that. And this sanctuary state law, what it does, it forces the immigration enforcing agencies to go after the criminal element any way they can. If the local police are not going to help, they're going to go to where the criminal element is. And like Don said, if the criminal element is the uncle and they go to that house, they're going to take the grandma and they're going to take the niece and the cousin or somebody who's maybe in the process of getting papers or getting their citizenship, on the path to citizenship. But they're not going to ask questions. And I think that, a lot of people are going to lose here, even undocumented people. So this law doesn't make sense, and we're seeing here uh, victims of this tactics, and it seems that Kevin De Leon is using this for political gain. Jerry Brown is using this for political gain, and just like Sabina said, yeah, they're up there with their nice houses and they're protected, but the people, the citizens of California or of the United States, that we're not protected, right? You know.
Yeah, they don't want to protect the people of this country, the people that's here doing the legal thing, the people here that's doing the right thing. They're not worried about those people. They're trying to protect the people that's trying to do the wrong thing. And it's almost like we're literally living in a twilight zone. That part is just is mind blowing to me, and I completely don't understand how is it we got to this point in America that everything that is wrong is considered right to them. I mean, so it's absolutely crazy. So let's go to Ben real quick, and then we're gonna go. Then we're gonna play a video that I downloaded from your guys' website. We're gonna play a video, but let's go to Ben first.
Yeah, thanks, Will. So everything that they said, I just reiterate. This law, the sanctuary state law, the intent of this law is to undermine our country. It's to undermine our law enforcement. It's to undermine our rule of law, and it puts everybody in jeopardy. It puts citizens, it puts again, immigrants that are trying to go through the process. It puts them in jeopardy, like Marco said. It's a lawless law that has to be overturned, and there are too few Republicans with a spine to do it. And so we were watching this, we were looking at this, and again, kind of how I got involved with this. I got approached by to do this, and I was looking at it saying, where are the people? Where are the men and women? Where are the patriots of this country that are standing up? Where are the politicians that claim to be on our side with this, that are derelict in their duty? Where are they? And they were nowhere to be found. And so when I got approached to be the spokesman on this, it was an absolute honor. It's a privilege of mine to be able to do this. We are very, very, very limited on time. And again, the budget. So what I would actually, one thing before we go on to that is what I would ask everybody who's watching this right now, please share this video on all the social media outlets that you have, whether that's on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere that you have the ability to share this out there, especially into California, anyone who lives in this state. We need a massive mobilization of law-abiding citizens to get behind this. We need you now. We need you absolutely right now. We don't have time. We need to raise this money basically in about 2 weeks. And again, 500,000 is about the minimum. So whether it's $5 or 500 or 1,000, if you've got a small business or a business that you own and you can contribute more, this is just the beginning of we the people of this country, this state, standing up and saying, we're done with it. We're done with your seditious, your lawlessness. We're done with these politicians that care more about criminals than they do about the citizens of their state. We're done with the politicians that claim to be willing to do something but do nothing. We're done with it, and it's time for the California citizens, the American citizens, to stand up. And again, I reiterate this. I know, Will, you've got a big audience across the country. If you think it's not going to come to you, you're wrong. This is spreading across the country. This lawlessness is spreading across the country, and if you don't stop it here, it's going to undermine our entire country. It's time to stand up. Again, guys, where you do this, so technically, SB54referendum.com. That's where we need you to go. If it's on, I don't know if, Will, you've got it scrolling there, SB54referendum.com. There you can donate, and you can also sign up as a volunteer. We're going to need thousands of signature gatherers as well, but we can't use signature gatherers until we get the funding to get these petitions out. We've got the approval on the petitions. We've got the referendum ready to go. Now we just need folks to get on board and help us out. And Don, you give a really good analogy about how to break this down. And Sabina, you made that comment too. Is it worth protecting the life of your child? Sabina and Don don't have that luxury anymore. They don't have the luxury to protect their children. We still have that luxury. We can end this sanctuary state law, and we can start taking the fight back to these sanctuary cities. Again, I'm here in San Francisco. I'm at ground zero for the lawlessness that is killing American citizens right here in San Francisco with the beautiful bridge behind me. It's just disgusting to think that the politicians that live here would protect criminal aliens over American citizens. And it's time for we the people to stand up and say no more.
Absolutely. So I want to tell everyone we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time because some people have better experience on YouTube. You know, it's so important that we wake up and we start doing this right now. We can't wait because if we don't do anything, we're going to have this state just flooded with people that's going to be here to do harm to the American people. And there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. I mean, they're tying the hands of the police officers. It's ridiculous what's going on. And like Ben just said, if you don't think it's going to happen in your state and the rest of the country, you better wake up because it's coming. This is the part that's really crazy. People are like, okay, that's just California. Californians are crazy. I hear that all the time. They said we need to put up a wall around California. Doing that, we just allow them to win because then they've divided the United States of America. We've got to stand up and fight. And, you know, contributing to this cause is how we do that. You know, $5, $15, like Sabina said, you know, that's nothing compared to losing your child. Yeah. We have to stand up. It's so important. And you guys sharing this video gets the word out. You've got to get the word out. We've got to fight. We are on the front lines right here in California, and we have to fight. So let's play this video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more.
Every day, Americans from Maine to Arizona feel the negative effects of illegal immigration. Lives forever changed in the blink of an eye. Identity theft, burglary, assault, rape, murder. We are AVIAC. Advocates for victims of illegal alien crime. We are the families of victims of illegal alien crime, coming together as a united front to promote American safety and security. Our mission? Educate the public and elected officials on the negative impact of illegal alien crime. Provide a critical support system for victims and their families. And promote public action to keep America safe. That's how we will heal families, lift voices, and honor victims. We are AVIAC. Join the fight to support our mission. Ensure no voice is silenced again.
Will, thanks for playing that.
Yeah, no problem. You know what? It's so important that we get the word out. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Sabina and I, along with 5 of our good friends, started that organization at the end of June, even though we've all been working on this issue for a long time. And it's national. And as Ben and Marco were saying before, and I mean, we're dealing with, well, one of the board members is from Iowa, very conservative state. Another one, not another board member, but I've been dealing with people lately from Tennessee and North Carolina that lost, a loved one. It's everywhere. It's not, it's nothing. And I do want to just make one point because I know, we'll get attacked for this. Everybody that comes here illegally is not a horrible person. They're not all bad people. They've all done something bad, but that doesn't make them all bad people. But just to put it in perspective a little bit, in California, and this is 2016 statistics, in and out of state and local prisons, we're over 52,000 convicted felons that were here illegally. There were probably another 150,000 that were convicted of crimes and got probation. Wow. Statistically, every one of those people probably has committed 6 to 8 crimes. So you're talking some really serious numbers. And the question that I always ask people who are, fighting against us is, how many people are you willing to let die so that the 11 to 20 million, whatever are, can stay here? And of course, nobody can ever answer that because the answer is 0, and they don't want to say that. So everybody who's listening, again, whatever state you're in, this is where we have to stop it. This is where we have to make it very clear. And it'll be a big thing. If the country sees that California has stopped this, it will give a lot of initiative for people in other states to do the same thing.
Right, right. You know,
Can I say something?
yes,
real quick?
absolutely. Go ahead.
I am a legal immigrant, like Marco, and I came over here the right way with doing the paperwork, paying everything, waiting in line. This turns easily into people calling us racist, and clearly, if you look at my son, well, that doesn't work all that well with me. But they still tried, or they call me a Nazi because I'm from Germany. This is not a racial issue because illegal is not a race. This is an American issue. It's a survival issue. And when people have their doors closed and their family safely at home, you don't want somebody to just come in and say, well, this is my sanctuary now. I'm going to sleep in your daughter's bedroom. You protect your family. So Americans need to wake up and stop being afraid of speaking up, because it's not a racist issue. I don't care where you come from. Guatemala, like the kill of my son, England, Germany. If you are here illegally, you shouldn't be here. And if you're a criminal illegal, you should have been deported and gone and never been able to come back. So people quit being afraid of speaking up, because if they walk into your door, you would speak up real quick.
Yeah. You know what? I don't even think this is really, for me, it's not even just about illegals. It's about people that's coming from other countries to this country to bring harm to American citizens. Yeah. Just like I'm going to go ahead and bring up what happened in New York. What just happened in New York. To my understanding, the guy that did this horrific act has been here since 2010, and he came to America through the visa program under the Obama administration, and there's no telling how many more people like that the Obama administration has brought to this country. I mean, so it's more than just people being here illegal. I mean, granted, it is the illegal people here in the state of California and throughout the country that's doing these horrific crimes and getting away with it over and over and over. But we have to do something to protect the American people as a whole. I mean, this is crazy. Have you ever known, not known, but did you ever think that you would ever in your lifetime be having this conversation that we have politicians in political office that's not doing everything they can to protect the American citizens? Did you ever think that? I didn't. I mean, this is crazy. We should not be having this conversation right now.
No, we shouldn't, because they're in office to protect us.
Yeah, they're not.
No,
they don't.
Go ahead, Ben.
And that's one of the things that gets me. Our government's primary responsibility is to protect the citizens of this country and the Constitution. And when they lose that, and Don and I had a conversation after one of my shows when I had him on, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond dereliction of duty to protect the Constitution and the citizens. When they act proud, there's a pride in this. When Kevin De Leon passes this bill that puts American citizens, California citizens, at risk, and he's proud of it. It goes beyond dereliction of duty. There's an evil behind it. There's a menace behind it. There's an underlying an attempt to undermine this country in a way that I can't fathom. Like you said, it doesn't make sense to me that we would allow one person to experience what Don has and Sabina have experienced, but to smile and act like it's some noble cause to let these guys back out onto the street to go victimize more people. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it has to stop. And it's a symptom of a greater sickness that has infected our country, but this is where we start. This is where we start, and this is where, to me, the citizens of California, it's time to stand up. And this is where we say, it's too far. It's too far, and it's time for us to take that back. And whether you're Republican or Democrat, this is an issue too, guys. This shouldn't matter if you're a Republican. My background, I'm a Christian conservative activist, but there are people in this movement who are liberals or libertarian. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. this is common sense that the primary role of our country is to protect the citizens of this country. And so kind of back to Marco's point, imagine a sanctuary nation where we have a country that protects people from other countries over the citizens of this country. And that is literally what they are doing on a small scale here in California, on these cities in San Francisco. But they're spreading this sickness across the country. And again, guys, if you're watching this, we need you. We need you to get involved, to support this, to stop it. But it ties all of it together. Like you said, Will, the attack in New York, it all ties together. These guys, they're undermining our country. They're against her. And he was an immigrant, guys. He was an immigrant.
Exactly.
And from what I understand, I don't know if it's true or not that his visa lapsed. If that's true, then that means he was an illegal immigrant. So it doesn't just mean from Mexico. This is sanctuary for people from all over the world that want to do us harm. I don't care if they're from Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, South America, Russia, the Middle East.
They can be from France.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. They can be from the UK. They can be from any European country. It doesn't matter. If the people come here and they're not here legally and they're doing illegal activities, they need to be dealt with. I can't even imagine us as Americans doing something and we do something that's completely against the law that we get off. We don't get off. We don't get the pass. We don't have a safe place like the government is providing for these people that are doing illegal criminal activities. We don't get that. We get complete opposite. Let's bring Marco back in real quick.
Just what I can say is that I'm not worried about the money. I like to, I believe in humanity, and I think that the lives of the victims and the lives of our kids are worth whatever it is. I think it's $500,000 because the voice and the will of people shouldn't have a price. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to go back to these politicians and tell them, look, what you're doing is not right. And if you look at the mechanics, I don't think that a group of illegal immigrants got together out there and went to Kevin De Leon and say, hey, we need you to protect us. There is a lot of special interest that is here that we need to fight, because they just took it upon themselves to say, I think it's worth for us more to do a sanctuary state than to protect the lives of the people of the state.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know what? They're making incentives for these people to come here illegally, because they've told them if they can get here illegally, they're getting government subsidies. They're giving government housing. They're getting free education if they can just get here. This is what's crazy. So they're making it really appealing for people just to get here illegal, no matter how you get here. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why they're not doing as much for the American citizens. There's men and women here that have children that are growing up that need stuff, and they don't have it. And they're looking out for people that's coming here illegally to help them. I mean, we have Don and Sabrina that, you know what, I can't even, like I said, I can't even imagine what you're going through day to day. And you have to deal with this, and you're trying to fight and trying to wake people up to realize, hey, this is so bad that people are losing their lives. And there's a website, and I'm sorry I don't have the website right now, but Ben sent me a website. And it had just hundreds and hundreds of different names of people that have been killed by people that was here illegally. I mean, it's like it's non-ending. I mean, it's scary and it's horrible at the same time.
It's just nobody wants to talk about that because they rather talk it away. And what you talked about, the money, and I wasn't politically involved. So I learned over the 5 years that this illegal business is about votes and cheap labor and all the special interests. And that's what they're protecting. They could care less about the illegal. They don't, like Marco said, they don't care how he does and what he does. They want the cheap labor so they can sell a lot of products for good profit. And they will sell their mother's soul if they do that. And while they selling their soul, they are protected. So people need to realize, don't be fooled, and don't think that this is just isolated because you don't hear about it. And I remember Don one time telling me that if they would build a memorial wall for our loved ones that were taken by illegals, it would be double the size of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington. And it
Wow.
wouldn't stop. It would continue to grow by 20 to 25 people a
Wow.
day.
Wow.
Wow.
Imagine that, a
Wow.
never ending wall.
That
So
that's
people wake up. You don't want to sit in our spot. You don't want to be me, where I go to weddings and I will never see my son get married. I will never be a grandmother. I will never be a mother-in-law. You don't
Mm.
want that. So while you still have your kids to hug and kiss, just skip that one mocha latte and donate, and make sure that your kids and your grandkids have a future in America. Because when I came here, America was my sanctuary. Well, it's not. It wasn't my son's sanctuary. So
wow.
please wake
Wow.
up.
Yeah, the deaths are really underestimated. Well, first
Yeah.
of all, the media, most of the media does not report illegal alien crime at all. Or if they do report the crime, they don't identify them. But as Sabina said, I mean, she didn't lose her son. She lost a daughter-in-law. She lost
Wow.
grandchildren. And I did too.
Mm.
My son was 25 years old, had probably when he graduated law school would have gotten married. I'll probably have a couple of grandchildren now. And, that doesn't happen. But the biggest issue really is the media, for whatever reason. I mean, I know some of them have to do with money. They become public relations for illegal aliens, not journalists. And people don't see it, as Sabina knows, because she was there at a Senate hearing 2.5 years ago, when a guy testified. This was a pastor from New York.
Oh,
This was
oh,
at the Sanctuary City hearing right after Kate Steinle was killed, and the guy testified that, don't blame everybody because of what a few do. And after the hearing was over, I went up to him and said, "What do you mean few? Define few." And he looked at me and gave me a really sneering look and said, "A few." And you can hear this on the C-SPAN tape, but you can't see it. As I said, "You're talking thousands, tens of thousands." The next thing I knew, I had two cops dragging me out of the hearing room, even though the
yeah, we
hearing
had
was
to get
over.
him.
They handcuffed me and they were taking me off to prison. They didn't, because I hadn't broken any laws, and we got away. But that's how bad it is. And I was
Yeah.
so angry because not one senator questioned this guy and said, "What do you mean few? We're talking, the numbers are in thousands." What happened in New York yesterday, if the number of people killed and injured in New York became the average number of people killed and injured by illegal aliens, I consider it a massive victory.
Yes.
That would be a good day in the illegal alien crime
That's
history.
crazy.
But
You know,
people don't know.
you know what, Don? I can't imagine. I mean, I think I would be right there with you. I would probably be so angry, so furious. I
Oh,
mean,
he
I,
was.
I mean, I think I would literally want to, put my hands around a throat. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you know what? If they lost a child themselves, then they would understand your pain. No one can understand that. Only the two of you can only understand that. We can't understand that because I've never lost a child. You know, so I can, but I have, like I would have dreams. That if I lost my child, I mean, I just can't
It's your biggest
imagine.
fear. Yeah, it's your biggest fear as a parent, just frantically losing your child in a mall for 2 minutes. That raises your blood pressure and scares the bejesus out of
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. I
You know,
remember
when
I
So,
was.
but this pain and this grief, your mind won't let you go there, because if you would know what's going on in our hearts, in our soul, in our head, it's easy to take a gun to your brain, because it just gets so intense. So you won't know what it is like. And I'm glad a lot of people don't know. But I don't want them to know. That's why they gotta wake up. I don't want to talk to another mom and say, I know your pain. I don't want to hug another person. I'm here in Arkansas. Now, I moved away from California. I'm meeting another mom who lost her niece 28 years ago. And she's still not over it. She will never get over it. So it continues from state to state if people don't stand up. And if, like I said, if you got money for some coffee at Starbucks, come on, do something with
Yeah.
it. And
Exactly.
if you don't speak
Yeah.
up, it's not everybody's thing. Donate. Do something.
And just
go to the website.
Go ahead,
back
Ben.
to Marco's, back to Marco's point. I agree. I feel like we've been called to this for such a time as this, that this cause is that we've been led to it. And so the people that are supposed to be supporting it will come behind it. And I've already seen that happening across the state. We've been getting calls from people from the border of Mexico to the border of Oregon and up into the Sierras and to the Bay Areas and Santa Barbara. We've got folks across this state who are all saying, we're done with this. We're done with this lawlessness. We're going to stand up. We're going to help. So I agree with Marco's point. But if you're feeling, I always try to from a sales standpoint, it's there's no push, there's no pressure. If you feel led to do something, do it, but never out of compulsion. But I would just say pray about it. See what you feel led to do. But if stopping a tragedy like Sabina and what Don have experienced means something to you, then join us. Then join us, whatever that is. So, and again, I can't express it any better than they can.
Yeah,
I can only
go ahead, Don.
I was just gonna say I can only say that if and this is the message for everybody to get involved, and if you can't donate any money, sign up to be a volunteer, because all I know is if somebody I'm doing what I'm doing, and I know Sabina is too, and all of our friends, we're doing what we're doing, so this never happens to anybody else. Because I think all the time, boy, if somebody had done this, maybe 15 years ago, my son would be alive. And I'm so sick of hearing, you're tearing families apart, because nobody ever says to us, I'm sorry, we destroyed your family. And they're not even really tearing families apart. What people don't realize, every child that's born in this country is also a citizen of their parents' country. They can go home with them. We can't bring our kids home.
Wow. That's
and
deep.
we appreciate you guys being out there pounding the pavement and bringing awareness to this, because a lot of people that I talk to don't know what a sanctuary city is, what a sanctuary state means, and oh well, these poor illegals, they're just at Home Depot working. No, ma'am, they not. No, it's some of them, but a lot of others doing other things that you wouldn't want to know about. So you spreading the awareness and putting it out there creates another movement, and for that I'm forever grateful. And like Don said, I wish somebody would have done that, and I wouldn't even know you. I could be with my son riding motorcycles.
Yep. Yeah, it's man, it's like it's heavy just thinking about it. And I want to repeat what Don just said. I'm going to try to repeat it. And I, to be honest with you, I didn't even think about it like that. And it's worth repeating. These families, they said you're splitting up families when they can go home with their parents. Nothing's stopping them from going home with their parents. But your child can't go home with you. That is so deep. That is so deep. I mean, that really hits home. That is so deep.
We think about that every day, every single day. And sometimes
my son's ashes, his pictures, his
yeah. And sometimes I think it's worse every day. It doesn't get better. I know that. And I do think sometimes it gets worse when you think of all the things that you'd be doing now with your son or daughter, or it even be, father.
Oh man.
We have two members of our AVIAC board that lost brothers.
Yeah.
And you talk about how bad the laws are. Two members of our board, the killers were let go before their trial, and they fled the country.
Yeah. No justice. None.
As one person said, which I think was a great line. She said his bail was less than it cost me to bury my daughter.
Oh, wow.
Ugh.
And
Oh my
her daughter
goodness.
was killed the day after she graduated
Oh
from
my God.
college.
Oh my God.
I mean, you could go on. I could sit here for days and tell you story after story. And one of the things, when they talk about we're only letting out, this is an important point. They say we're only letting out nonviolent criminals. I'm sort of the research wonk on all of this, and I've read hundreds of cases, maybe thousands. I can't think. I'm sure there has been, but I can't think of one where the person who ended up killing somebody didn't have a prior connection to the police. And yeah, it may have been driving drunk. It may have been, robbery, whatever, things that are considered nonviolent, but then they went on to kill somebody. Why do we give somebody an extra opportunity to do that? It's very rare when you find somebody that had no prior criminal record.
Yeah, wow.
And I can't even remember one. I've been looking at this for 7 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and Don, your case is the perfect example. His only crime before that was driving without a license, and then he's allowed to stay in this country, and then he kills your son. And that's again where that's one of the things that Kevin De Leon, I call him Kevin Leon on this, says is that, your point is so well taken that you can't go back to your family. They're talking about splitting up families. You can't go back. These people, they can, but the bottom line is it's not our fault. It's not the American citizens' fault. It's these guys' fault for breaking the law to begin with to come in here, and then breaking additional laws. And I don't care whether they drove without a license or they got a DUI or they got some other misdemeanor. If they get caught in America illegally and had committed a crime, they should be the first line to be deported immediately.
Agreed.
Immediately. I think every American can agree to that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That whatever you feel about immigration and a pathway to citizenship, all this other nonsense people talk about, we can all agree that the first people in line for deportation should be the people in jails that are here illegally. And we have politicians in this city and across this state who are letting them out. And we have 2 victims on this show tonight who are living examples of that. And we have tens of thousands of other victims across the country who are living examples of that. It has to stop.
Yes. Yes. Hey, I want to thank all of you for joining us. Man, this hour actually went by really fast. You know what? We need to do this again. We need to do these as often as possible so we can get the word out to everybody, because this is so important. If this is so important that if we don't do this, and we're subject to lose everything. Along with our families, our country, our state, everything. So I want to thank each one of you for joining me, and everybody that's watching. Thank you for hitting that share button. Please hit it one more time. And the best thing you can do is send it to the groups. Send it to any group that you have. Please share it. Share.
And guys, go to the website, SB54referendum.com, join the fight, donate and volunteer, whatever you guys can do to help. Every bit of it will be appreciated.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Will, my thanks to you, and certainly I thank everybody who contributes or signs up to volunteer. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So much.
Good night, everybody. United America
are the true, those are the things that need to be highlighted.
Right.
That really, I believe, will mobilize people across the country to stand up for this nation and for this rule of law.
Awesome. So let's go to Marco, and then after Marco, we'll go to Don and Sabrina so they can tell their story.
Hi, Will. I am sitting actually where the criminal for Kate Steinle was sitting the day that he killed Kate Steinle. And there's a saying in Spanish that says, "Pagarán justos por pecadores," which means that the just will pay for the sinners. And what we have here is we have the Kevin De Leon, Jerry Brown, pretending that they're helping a group of people, but they're really not. They're just this law undermines the will of the citizens of California, and it really puts us in a position where can you guys, well, now we have a sanctuary state, but can you guys imagine a sanctuary nation? Because Illinois is already working on a very
All right. Hand me my phone. Hello, everybody. My name is Will Johnson. I want to thank you for watching. We are Unite America First, and tonight we have some special guests with us. We're talking about the SB54 referendum. And first of all, we're going to start off with Ben. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves, and then we'll go from there. So, Ben, starting with you, please.
Thanks for having us on, Will. I'm Ben Berquam, Frontline Radio, and the spokesman for the SB54 referendum.
Okay, Marco.
Yeah, my name is Marco. I'm a grateful citizen of the United States of America, and I'm the proponent of SB54 referendum.
Okay, now Don.
Yeah, my name is Don Rosenberg. My son was killed almost 7 years ago by an illegal alien, and I've been working to get criminal illegal aliens out of the United States ever since.
Okay, and Sabina.
Hi, I'm Sabina Durden, otherwise known as Dom's mom. My only child, my son Dominic, was killed on 7/12/12 in California by an illegal alien with a long criminal record, and I have been fighting since then to get any illegal out of America because I'm a legal immigrant. And
Us guys, thank you for being here with us. We need funding. This is our real kickoff. Now that we've got this underway, we've got the title and summary approved. In order to get this thing done, in order to get the 500,000 signatures that we're going to need to get, we need funding. We'll need a minimum of about $500,000. And so what we're asking, and we'll talk more about it later, but we need folks to go to SB54referendum.com, whether you're in California or you're somewhere else in the country. We've got to stop this lawlessness. We have to stop. And if you think that you're somewhere else in this country and it's not going to affect you, you're wrong. If it's allowed to stay here in California, it's going to spread just like cancer, just like the sanctuary city policies have spread. It's time for every American to stand up and support the rule of law. We're asking you to join us, whether that's $5 or $500. We need everybody's support on this. And so tonight is that kickoff. It's that webathon to get that going, to get folks involved. And we're going to be tracking that over the night. So again, go to SB54referendum.com, whatever you can give there. So our proponent, Will or Marco, I don't know if you want to go to Marco, Will, or if we want to just go to Don's story. But I'm a guy who got asked to be a spokesman on this. I'm honored to be that spokesman. But to me, it's really, Marco's story of coming to America, doing it legally, and Don and Sabina's story. Basically, though, from this point forward, enough signatures. Again, we need 365,000 plus signatures. In reality, we need closer to 500,000 signatures in just under 60 days. So we have a very short, tight window and a very steep mountain to climb. But really, the key to me are the stories. And so Don and Sabina and the countless other families that have lost loved ones, that to me is the key. It's connecting that with the people, guys. This is a seditious, lawless bill. This law, the sanctuary state law, just so everybody knows where we're at as a little background here, I am on the pier. I'm feet away from where Kate Steinle was killed. I'm standing actually at the same point where Kate Steinle was murdered by a criminal illegal alien. That trial is actually going on today. It's ongoing right now. And I'm standing in the place where she was killed, a innocent American citizen killed by a criminal illegal alien. And now the city of San Francisco, under their sanctuary city policies, protects that criminal illegal alien. What I want to know is where's the justice for Kate and where's the justice for Don? And I'm going to let Don Rosenberg and Sabina, they can tell their story way better than I could ever tell it. But for me, when I got asked to do this, it was an honor. The whole premise of tonight and what we're asking folks to do, and thank you for joining.
I'm expecting the same from everybody else. So thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thanks for everybody for coming. So, you know, this movement, this what you guys are doing is very important. And you know what, I'm thankful, and I thank you for reaching out to me to try to help get this message across. Because everybody in the state of California needs to wake up and realize what exactly is happening here. This movement is very important. So can you, I guess, how do you want to do this? Ben, do you want to talk about how you got it started?
She may have to hold this in a bit.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So I was brought onto this. We started this. So SB54 referendum, and just as a little bit of background for folks, with the referendum, it's a little different than initiative. We only have 90 days from the time that Governor Brown signed the bill into law to repeal it. And what we want to do is repeal it before it takes effect on January 1st, 2018. And so we chose the referendum route. That means from October 5th, we have 90 days. We filed it on October 17th, and then we received the title and summary last Friday, the 27th, from the Attorney General's office. So basically, though, from this point forward, we have 62 days to get the referendum from to raise enough money. So